All right. So a very warm good morning or good afternoon, depending upon the time zone you're in. And I'm really happy and delighted to welcome two amazing individuals on the panel today at Analito's Consumer Engagement Summit 2021. I'm really happy that we have Geronimo and Kim doing some amazing thing in the field of retail and e-commerce, and they're going to share a lot of experiences and how they are kind of growing their brand and scaling up. So a lot to learn for the next 45 minutes. So without further ado, let me make a formal introduction of our panelists this morning. So first we have on the panel is Kim Roxy. She's the founder and CEO of Lamic Beauty, based out of Houston, Texas, and they are in the cosmetic space and with a clean with products uh, which are helping women of color naturally enhance their beauty. And their values are be kind to people, and they support and celebrate women in all of their glory. And they are mission driven, purpose driven. They're building an inclusive community for women across the country and helping the community. And they're very focused on creating the highest quality product with purest ingredients and devoted to promoting the health of their customers and their communities. And they are also creating educational content for their customers as well. Kim, welcome to the panel. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Next, we have on the panel is Geronimo Chala. He's the Chief Client Officer at Rebag, based out of New York, and he his brand Rebag is the ultimate destination for buying and selling the most coveted designer handbags, watches, jewelry, and accessories. And Rebag is an e-commerce company reimagining the role of luxury in the secondary market, and Rebag has opened a world of endless access to luxury with unique business model that puts the seller first, offers upfront payment, and makes the resale experience smooth and clutter-free. And Geronimo has been doing some amazing work in the field of e-commerce retail, and he has previously worked at Tesla. He has worked at Lacoste and other brands as well. So with a ton of experience, Geronimo has a lot to share today. Geronimo, welcome to the panel. Thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be part of it. Thank you.
Great. So my first question to both of you is around your brand's purpose. I tried to briefly put it during the intro, but if you can share a little bit more and add it more, that would be great. Let me begin with Kim to start with.
Yeah, well, you did an amazing introduction about Lamique and what we stand for. But I'll say we are a clean color cosmetic brand. As you mentioned, beauty tech enabled. So we're using technology to get our product to the end user, to our customer, to that woman that we love in a better way. So making it easy for her to shop online, even than it is just in person. When we thought about cosmetics before, it was always like I had to try it on, I had to try it on, I had to try it on.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way it has to go. And what we've done is reimagine that. And for a woman of deeper skin tone like myself, um, going to the makeup counter wasn't like something that I look forward to. Like, going to go search for my shade and going to go put on an eyeshadow that doesn't even show up on my skin. Like that wasn't bringing me joy like,
Mhm.
the beauty industry should do. So I actually took my experience. I used to run my own brick and mortar makeup shop for 14 years.
Mm.
And I took that experience of running that makeup shop and developed our software that we use, like augmented reality, virtually trying on our product. I developed that with a company called AgoFace to use on our site that we use today. We created an AI powered quiz that asks certain questions so you can recommend the right products to you.
Mhm.
And Also live stream shopping. We do a lot of live commerce, and I know we'll get into that later. But Lamique is, the makeup that you can put on and you can wear every day, manufactured in Houston.
Mhm.
But just making it a better experience for all women to be able to shop beauty.
Wow, that's tremendous. So you are really doing some amazing work, and I must say the use of technology that you're doing in the business is phenomenal. I think more power to you because technology is such an enabler, and whatever
Mhm.
experience you can offer in an offline environment, being able to offer that experience to your customers in an online world
Exactly.
and in an immersive way, it can truly open up new doors of opportunities. And the delight that you can bring to customers is
Mm-hmm.
manifold. I mean, because this is what consumers are looking for. Consumers are looking for experiences because most of the time, when a consumer discovers a brand, they want to buy something. They are even if they don't want to buy, but if the brand is able to offer that experience, you make
Mm-hmm.
them friends. You make them friends for a lifetime, and they come back and
Exactly.
will buy from you. Wow, tremendous! I'm so glad that you mentioned this one that you're already using augmented reality for your store and for your
Mm-hmm.
consumers. Great,
Mm-hmm.
excellent.
Yes.
Uh, Geronimo, let me come to you as well and hear your story. If you can share a little bit more about Rebag and how it's kind of changing the way in the luxury world.
Mhm.
Yeah, again, thank you for the introduction. You nailed it on the head. In all reality, we are in the resale industry, and right now there's a big difference, right? When you think about resale and consignment,
Mm,
and what we've come into the market now a little over 7 years ago.
mm,
Really kind of into the e-commerce space, didn't really have any physical footprint, and over the past 4 years, we've started to expand slowly onto more physical spaces. And actually the idea of the expansion kind of ties into what we do at Rebag, right? And what we believe in the resale industry, right?
mhm,
The resale industry is really an insurmountable amount of untapped potential, right?
mm.
But there's a lot of friction to it, right?
Yeah.
When we think about resale, we think about what really comes into people's minds at first is this idea of consignment, right?
Mm,
Well, at Rebag, we are not consignment, right? We actually buy the product outright. So we buy and sell luxury goods,
mm,
from watches to sunglasses to handbags, wallets, charms, keychains, things of that nature. We
mm,
carry just about 50 brands. So anything from Vuitton to Chanel, Hermes,
mm,
Gucci, um, Prada. And so just to name a few, but the ability for us to be able to buy the product outright is actually kind of what is one of the initial processes that limits friction in the resale space, right?
mm,
When we think about how much these brands alone, the ones that I mentioned, are selling on an annual basis globally,
yeah.
right? Just imagine the amount of product that is produced in this space,
Mm,
and the potential amount that can be resold in this space. And so obviously when you're identifying what some of these frictions are in the resale space, right, we have to think about what technologies can actually improve this experience for the consumer.
yeah.
And Rebag, not too long ago, we've launched our initial version started with what we call Claire,
Mm,
and we consider it kind of the Kelly Blue Book of the luxury goods
mhm,
space, right? When you shop a car, you
mm,
don't just go in and look at the car for sticker value, right?
yeah.
I think every consumer around the entire world shops around. They looked at what cars are going for used. They
Mm,
decide if they want to go with maybe a newer used model or an
mm,
older used model, or even actually a new car. Will
mm,
they lease it? Will they buy it outright?
yeah.
Um, and so Kelly Blue Book's made its name, in all reality, at least here in the United States, really kind of actually as the go-to book to
Mm,
understand what's the value of your car, and even what's the value of your car if you were to resell it a year or two from now if you bought a new one.
mm,
So obviously this kind of technology allowed us to kind of speed up the process. When you do actually when you actually sell with us,
mm,
because we buy the goods outright, our technology allows us to be able to quote that initial good
mhm,
in a matter of minutes, and then pretty much in an hour, you're receiving your payment for your good or your credit if you want to actually apply it to another bag that you potentially might be looking at upgrading or exchanging because you bought one that was more for fall winter and you want something for spring summer. In the most recent time period now, we've launched Claire AI, Claire Artificial Intelligence. So we've upgraded the original version of Claire, and actually now you have the ability to basically scan a luxury handbag and get an instantaneous quote in a matter of seconds, right? And this could be a scan from a bag that's in your closet, a scan from a bag that you see on in a magazine, on the internet. And so what this really does is that it starts to educate the consumer a bit more of what the actual resale value of that bag that you potentially are looking at investing in. So we're really excited about it. I think it's something that will definitely change how the world of resale and consignment actually operates. And in all reality, it really has a massive impact in I think the way that the consumers really contribute to sustainability globally as well.
Wow, that's amazing. So glad to hear this. And I mean, the way you are kind of allowing consumers and opening up those avenues to make things more seamless, ultimately, when they want to know the price of what they possess and how it can add value to them and how sustainability, that factor comes into that. That's tremendous. Excellent work, Garnima. Moving forward, I would love to learn, like from the brand perspective, I think consumer engagement, what are some of the things that you as brand custodians are doing in order to kind of engage with your existing customers in order to have a repeat purchase? And at the same time, how what are some of the things that you're doing to acquire new customers? Whatever pointers you want to share. Let me go to Kim.
You know, when I think about re-engaging our customers and everything, you know, we do it from an educational standpoint. So in cosmetics, in the beauty industry, sometimes it's not talked about enough in regards to the expiration around products and things like that. So we talk about, you know, mascara is only good for 2 to 3 months. It's almost like a, you know, a pint of milk or something. Yeah, you might have spent your money on it, but if you didn't drink it, it's over, you know? And so that's kind of how it is with the mascara. You know, you opened it up, you made it, you know, now bacteria can build up. After 3 months, it's over, right? And so we have started a subscription for our mascara because of that. And so we also, we have a program where if you sit in a picture, we'll send you a custom blended foundation for your skin tone. Well, after a customer gets a custom blended foundation, you know, she doesn't want to let that go. So, you know, we started a subscription around that. So I think that for us, we just went by customer, almost like what they were asking for, what they were looking for, but then also education. So bringing that in to re-engage our customer. And so customers who have bought before, what have you, just kind of taking them through the life cycle of cosmetics and how that should work. I mean, a cream, any type of cream or liquid, you should get rid of after 1 year. If it's a powder, 2 years. Now, if you haven't opened it up, it could be longer. It could be 3 years, you know? So just helping to educate them around that helps to re-engage our customer. And then for acquiring new customers, for us, you know, what's the best way is our customers bringing their friends, other people like them along. So for us, you know, the referral has been, you know, pretty amazing in regards to us, you know, grabbing more customers. Also, we're seeing even a better conversion rate on live shopping, live commerce. Shopping for us, live social selling, you know, people have different terms for it, but yeah, we're seeing even better conversion rate there as far as acquiring new customers.
Wow, that's excellent. So making sure that your consumers are given the right information, allowing, I mean, education, that brings a lot of awareness. And I think consumers love the brands when they get the right information. And I think the referrals, again, is a great way. And because if you have convinced one customer and if they're bringing the additional two, wow, sky's the limit. That the amount of customer acquisition you can do and how you can reduce your acquisition costs over the years. Excellent.
Mhm.
How about you, Geronimo? What are your thoughts on like a consumer acquisition or consumer engagement? Definitely, your branding is at par, and you have presence across channels. So, what are your thoughts? How do you do it differently, or what are some of the things that has worked really well for you?
Yeah, I think Kim definitely, mentioned one of the prime, right, which is the educate aspect. I think right now, I think when we look in the past, my previous experience, right, especially, in the world of Tesla, right, we everything was about education,
Yeah.
but it's also controlled, right, and it's a controlled level of education, right, because one of the biggest problems that we had at Tesla, for example, was customer comes in or goes to the website, and it's like the engagement was to bombard them with overload amount of information, right? Oh, the drivetrain communicates to the system and then creates regenerative braking, and then this woman's like, wow, I don't even know how to turn on my computer. How is this going to work? And so, it's moderating what that education is, right? I think a lot of the approach that we take at Rebag and that, when I think about the consumer experience and what that experience is supposed to be to really drive not only at new acquisition, but really take that new acquisition and make it loyal, right? How do we change you from a customer to a loyal client?
Yeah.
A lot of this we can learn in all reality from what some of these software tech giants are doing, right? When we look at Instagram, right? And I always use this analogy, right? When we look at Instagram, when you're on Instagram, when in your life has ever a posting popped up on your screen that you didn't like, and you actually sit there and watch the reel for 2 minutes of something that you didn't like?
Yeah.
It's not, right? They've mastered the algorithm, right? And it's now understanding that algorithm and how does that actually work within your physical space or your own e-commerce space behind your marketing message, right? Behind your engagement and retention message, right? And so I think with Rebag, we have a bit more of I would say maybe a little bit easier for us in the sense of we have multiple things to educate the consumer about, not only buying a handbag, but also selling a handbag. So the level of interaction within the brand in itself is high because the customer could actually do two things. And then if you think about, our third aspect of our business, which is what we call Infinity, which basically allows you to purchase a bag, use it within a year, and receive up to 80% of the cost of what you paid for, and just to recycle and get another bag. Really what that does is that it has multiple ways for a customer to interact, either digitally or physically in store. And so some of these things, when we think about retention, I find that we've always surrounded ourselves a little bit around, it comes from marketing, but I think it's a mixture of what we do from a messaging perspective, what we do from a, obviously in some other brands, promotional incentives and things of this nature, perks to build loyalty. But I think there's an element of innovation, right? How do you experience and what is your experience with the brand, right? And again, I'll use the same example at Tesla. I used to have people come in 5-6 times just for fun, just to test drive all the different models of the cars, right? Because it was fun for them. And then eventually within the 2 years, they ended up in a Tesla. So I think though we can learn from these brands that are in this tech space, really on how do you take that digital innovation and that digital engagement and really actually make it physical? Because what we have learned in the pandemic, right, is that, and you'll, before the pandemic, you used to hear this battle, oh, retail is going to die because e-commerce is coming into the place. In all reality, retail can never die, because the pandemic is a perfect example. No one wants to be in their house. I think now it's even worse. Nobody wants to be in their house for one more minute. They want to be outside and enjoy the outside and human energy and that connection within people. And even if it's window shopping, how do you take that window shopper and make the experience innovative for them? And I think this is kind of the bigger picture on how we really want to focus on customer retention, engagement, and new acquisition.
Excellent. That's an excellent answer, I must say. And you mentioned it rightly. It's all about how you can allow consumers to experience your products, no matter. And because I think when the consumers, because I think most of the time when they're buying something, whether it's a luxury product or whether, I mean, the price point can vary, but most of the time it's not impulsive. Sometimes it's impulsive, but most of the time it's need based and research oriented. So if the consumers get that experience even before they want to buy, and that experience is delight, shopping happens, the checkout happens just like that. So that's one key learning I think that Geronimo just shared. And then my follow-up question on this is, you have all these different brands and all these different types of products, SKUs that you sell, and you have like an offline world and an online world. And pre-pandemic, it was, I think most of the stuff was happening offline, where people come to an offline store and see the product, experience it, and then go for that purchase. But during pandemic, yes, the footfalls come down, and now you have this online presence. So how has the business for you been, offline versus online? Have you seen any jump in the online business? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting, actually, we started off as an e-commerce brand. So for
Uh,
us, the pandemic, we had the infrastructure already.
uh-huh.
We then wanted to go into the physical space to really kind of, again, improve that friction of what potentially reselling a good would mean, right, to a
Mhm.
consumer. The pandemic has, unfortunately, has impacted, many other businesses, but I think in the resale industry, it's
Mhm.
impacted the business for most businesses in the resale industry quite astronomical. It's been
Mhm.
fantastic for us in the resale industry.
Uh-huh.
When you take a look at, some of the brands that have gone public over the past, call it 9 months,
Mhm.
with large valuations, it really is kind of been a blessing for us. And I think really what has happened is that what we do notice is that um, what I do see with our consumers is that even if they've never gone to rebag.com, the
Mhm.
sale already started
Mhm.
on a digital platform, maybe not on our website, but maybe on someone else's website, or perhaps maybe on I would say on a full price retailer's website, right, to see what they offer. And
Mhm.
so that it already started digitally. So I think, when they come to us, it's, kind of that, yes, more of that experience, that touch, that feel, the senses that we can play with and see with the bag,
Mhm.
or with the luxury good. But I do think that it was retaining that customer could be one of the challenges that we faced during the pandemic. And I think, obviously really kind of making sure that that experience digitally was
Mhm.
still as personable as it was physically, I think was
Mhm.
a big success for us to actually grow the business at the rate that it grew in 2020.
Excellent. That's amazing. So you managed it really well, and ultimately, you understood the consumer needs, and you accordingly kind of made all those transitions and made it accessible. And that's amazing, because I think the pandemic has taught us that there's always a way, and retail is such a big industry, and it's going to be there no matter how much technology evolution happens. Offline retail is definitely going to be there, because people want to touch and feel the product. And but I think all these technology evolutions are acting as enablers. Whenever there is a challenge, I think technology helps the business to grow. Ultimately, every product and service is created keeping in mind the end consumer needs. And I think being in the fashion world or cosmetic industry, it's extremely imperative that how technology is acting and helping the consumers more. Maybe down the line, people will get to learn more about the products. Typically, when they buy something, they don't get to know what the product is made up of, or maybe I think augmented reality can also help that. Maybe they can just pull up their smartphone, scan the product, and the product information can pop out of thin air. Because most of the time, the packaging has a lot of information, but that never gets consumed. And I think this will, I look at it as the next trend, next change that is again
Mhm,
going to be an enabler and in the conversion process. So
mhm.
let me go to Kim and ask her. Kim, as you mentioned, you manufacture your product. So, what are some of the things or challenges did you face during the pandemic? And have you seen any increased demand during pandemic, or how was the business for you in the last 1 year?
Yeah, I mean, personally, when the pandemic first hit, you know, I was frantic in regards to, what was going on in our world.
Hmm.
And I always kind of hit it there first. So we sent out a survey to our customers that we had, asking them, how can we support them right now? Like, so many changes were happening in March, we're not knowing what the future held. And that's the first thing we did. And it was like the end of March that we sent that email out. And, what we heard from our customers was that they were working from home,
Hmm.
or they were on the front lines working. Um, and just maybe a small portion, maybe under 5%, had lost their jobs at that point.
Hmm.
Right. And so, because what we wanted to do as a company is we want to be very, we look at our customers as just a part of our family, and so we just don't want to be empathetic or insensitive to what's happening in people's lives, because we just didn't
Hmm.
understand yet what was going on and what this pandemic meant.
Yeah.
And so I started turning on my camera on Friday nights after hearing that. So I said, we're listening, we're like, okay, they're working from home, so now they got to be able to do their own faces for their Zoom meetings and for
Mm.
video conferences. And again, we didn't know the whole future and how long it was going to last or anything like that. So when you put yourself in March, the end of March of 2020, you didn't know that we would be here.
Yeah.
And so I think that, for us, I was like, okay, well, we're going to turn on our camera on Friday nights. We're going to start showing women how to do their own makeup through a live makeup party. We're going to bring joy,
Mm.
because we're experiencing so much people sick. Different things were starting to happen over April, over May.
Mm.
I had my own family member who passed away.
Okay.
So due to COVID. So like, it's all these different things going on. I said, man, we need to just like bring joy. And so
Mm.
that's what we started to do. And again, that's how we ended up finding out that live stream shopping was a place that beauty could
Interesting.
really excel.
Wow.
And so during this time is when we started to do that. Since then, we've launched on Talk Shop Live,
Mm-hmm.
which is a live streaming shopping platform. And we have celebrated a year of doing Friday Night Lives on Facebook. And it's been mentioned and sort of talked about on NPR and other different media outlets of our resilience during the pandemic and how we, went through live stream shopping and started all of that. But like I said, we really didn't start it just thinking, oh, this is a way to like do it. We really just started it just trying to bring joy, just trying to
Wow.
be a part
Mm.
of some type of relief for women, and then also helping them to get through it. So yes, the pandemic did accelerate our business, because it also made our customers and just different women like adapt to the behavior that we saw for the future. So we
Mm.
saw that, recommending the right products, because we went into the beauty aisles of the stores, and all the time they didn't have people in these department stores that were capable of matching your makeup or recommending the right product. So, and then you would go there, you'll meet, one person, and then a month later you go back to buy something else. They're not there anymore. You never could build a relationship, So through this way, kind of what um, Mr. Chalo was talking about is that, the relationship aspect of retail is so important.
Yes.
And so we started to build relationship with our customers, even through this digital navigation. And I think that, you know, um, I had a brick and mortar store before and ran it. I love the face-to-face engagement.
Yeah.
But I took all of that passion and all of that energy, and our team took all of that passion and energy, and, just channel that through a digital standpoint. And I feel like we're even closer. And now through digital, it takes the limits off. I
Mm.
think that again, we will go back and we will start physical retail even ourselves. But I think what happens is when I used to have my own brick and mortar store, it limited what I could do. I
Mm.
mean, and so I think with the digital standpoint, what we have now is that now the limits are off. It's no
Wow.
more, only we can do this. It kind of takes the limits off to make us limitless.
Oh, amazing. That's a great insight that you share, like how you something which is personal and how you kind of make sure that your consumers are empowered through your work, and because channeling that energy during those tough times is the most important thing, and kind of elevating someone's because everyone was going through something which was kind of turbulent. Those were extremely turbulent and unpredictable time, and a brand taking that initiative, consumers love that, and consumers love what the brands, whether when a brand stands for consumers, consumers love that. Consumers want to buy products from brands which are thinking in that socially responsible manner. So that's amazing. That's a great story, I must say. A lot of, I think, because consumers these days have access to information, and consumers are more educated, and consumers want to when they make a purchase, they most of the time are not just buying the product, but they are also kind of testing the brand, what that brand stands for. So I think what you
Mm,
mentioned, people appreciate that. Amazing work. Excellent, Kim. Moving
thank you.
forward, let's talk about a little bit about basically how do you see the future, basically, now that the pandemic is still there, but I think we are overcoming it. So how do you see demand picking up, and how is your brand getting ready for the consumer demand, and to make sure that they get what they want? So let me go to Geronimo. What are some of the things you would like to share? That.
Yeah, I think I think definitely. I mean, we were talking about this, I think, a little bit earlier before. But you know, I really do think that the future of consumerism is going to be kind of this really be centered around this human energy, right?
Mm,
And when you know. One of the brands, you know, that I love what they've done since the start of their time, in all reality, in I guess in the retail space, which is Apple,
mm,
you know, was always centered around human energy, right?
mhm.
Everything that they believe for is around human energy, internally to their own employees, but also externally to the, you know, the customers that are coming into their stores every day. And
Yeah.
I think right now, you know, it's you know, the pandemic has given us that refreshment, right? You know, to be in tune with one another, be in tune with the person next to you, be in tune with what that other person is going on and what they're going through on the other side as well, and things of that nature, and connect,
Yeah.
right? Force us to connect. And I think it was a true depiction of human survival at its finest,
Mm,
you know, and how, you know, in all reality, kind of this experience always lies together with human interaction, right? And so now I think we're becoming more innovative on how we do that digitally.
mm,
You know, the younger generations are showing us, and I think, you know, we've accepted the fact that, you know, the digital era is here.
yeah.
And I know I can share with you, you know, I have two young ones, you know, and, you know, from schooling on Zoom and just accepting the fact that that's what's just the world is going to turn into.
Mm,
At one point in time, we were those parents that we were like, we would never sit our kids in front of a computer for that long. Well, unfortunately, the world has forced us to do so. And so we have to pivot and follow it. And I think that's just showing us in all reality that we are more than ever, I think, connected now,
mm,
definitely digitally. We
yeah.
may have not maybe been at full capacity of it maybe
Mm,
3 years ago, 2 years ago, but now we truly are, and everything is digital. And I think, you know, the future of that is, how do you take that experience, to Kim's point, right? How do you personalize it, right? How do you make it about, you know, them? What are they going through? How do you share your story with them, allow
mm,
them to share their story with you, and experience that energy together?
mm,
You know, the Facebook lives, you know, things of that nature. Like when you're sharing that story, Kim, I can just imagine my wife going crazy and basically leaving me with the two kids to go have a makeup party for about 2 or 3 hours. It's a
mm.
good thing she didn't know this was happening, actually. But in all reality, you know, I
Yeah.
think that's really where the future is, right? And so I think what we will see, right, is you know, when you take a look at, you know, Kim or Rebag, you know, the business, right? You have these businesses that are willing to pivot quickly and take a chance, right? And I love that Kim mentioned that, right? The limits, right? It's like it removes the limits and you go for it. And I think you're going to find the larger ones that have, you know, a huge footprint, many years of brand history. You know, it's going to be difficult for them to be able to pivot as nimble as the newer businesses that have emerged. And I think you're going to see this kind of divide a little bit, but eventually I think over the next couple of years, it will be a fully 360 transparent immersion between e-commerce and that physical space together.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, you said it rightly, Kiranimo. I must say, because in the digital space, you can do limitless things, and you can have a one-to-many conversation so easily. And in the digital space, the amount of innovation that's happening, that I mean, brands are doing amazing things on stores. Like for your e-commerce stores, you have all these different products made accessible with all the information. Then the checkout experience is seamless, the delivery experience is seamless and comfortable. So you can do tremendous thing, and with all these amazing technologies that are coming in, like trying out the product even before purchasing, sampling of the product. So a lot of amazing innovations are happening. So Gerdimo, on your e-commerce store, what are some of the tools and technologies are like that you have added? You mentioned about this technology, Claire, if I've got that right. If you can share a little bit more about it, that would be great.
Yeah, so Claire is definitely probably, it's one of my favorite aspects of the business. Probably a little bit too much. Don't let my boss know that I spend my day scanning stuff all day long. That's a whole different story. But, you know, I think, you know, that alone in itself that you can find on our app device and site, you know, it really is seamless, right? You know, when you think about, you know, being able to have, you know, a bag and basically scan it, and literally in a matter of seconds, you know, get what its actual investment value is, whether it's gone up or down. You know, there's a saying that we use in an article that came out a couple of years ago, that, you know, it says, now you can play the handbag stock market too. And that's really what it is, right? It's extremely innovating, right? Because you can see the value of your bag going up or down. These luxury brands are constantly changing, you know, what they're doing. They stop the production of a particular color, they bring it back, demand. You know, one of my favorite pandemic stories was the sneaker story. Of the launch of the Dior Jordans, Air Jordans, right? Only like 150 of them made in the world. People are lined up outside just to put their name in a raffle to win it, so that they can get these $1,000 pair of shoes and then resell it on StockX for like $7,000, 7 times the value. And so, you know, Clear kind of limits, Clear puts limitations and gives that consumer the real true value of that bag, right? Because that is consumer triggered selling, right? The sneaker, but in all reality, what we do want is that there's a lot of these luxury goods out there, and so that experience has really helped our e-commerce experience. You know, obviously, I think, you know, now what we're going to be launching in the near future, I think, you know, our e-commerce experience really starts to impact how that consumer can truly interact with buying or selling a bag, and so we're extremely excited about that. But Claire is really at the heart of all of that, right? Claire is at the heart of all of that. And then obviously with that, you know, you have an endless amount of product that you can search on the site, you know. And so what's really great about it is that there's always newness coming around. When you think about some of the regular ready-to-wear brands, or, you know, it's seasonal, right? Fall, winter comes in, then you shop it for 6 months. It's the same collection. They may have 400 or 500 SKUs in that collection, and then you have to wait till spring, summer to get something new. In the resale industry, right, the refreshing of the website, you know, the constant update that happens weekly, because there's goods that are coming in and goods that are leaving, really allows you to actually keep that consumer engaged on the website. So really kind of refreshing that as well has really improved the customer experience. And I think the third point in all reality is, what we've done on our website is introduced we've always looked at software in the sense of like customer support software. So when you think about brands, we currently use Intercom is one of our platforms that we use on the site. A lot of these are always kind of like customer support. We also use it for engagement and really kind of that digital styling. And so being able to provide that level of expertise, that education, is important, because what we've done is on the site, you'll find we have a section that's called the Vault. And the Vault is really kind of this media, tons of videos, articles on how to store your bag, how to care for your bag, how to learn about the Birkins from the House of Hermes, the resale value of these bags. And so a lot of this education kind of lives in our Vault. And then so we intertwine that into our experience online to really actually kind of help educate, engage the customer, and keep them entertained. A lot of people actually find it quite entertaining. And so it brings a lot of sites. One could argue is that the more information you have on the site, it could negatively impact your conversion. We haven't really seen that actually happen. We've seen actually quite the opposite. We've seen higher conversion, and obviously a lot more traffic to the site. But I think these are really kind of these 3 points that we look at and that we've improved upon on our e-commerce platform.
Wow, that's amazing. So glad to hear that how you are constantly innovating. And I mean, the use of technology, I mean, like just using your smartphone, scanning a product and getting to know the value of the bag that you're having, that's a great power that you can give to a consumer, because I think then it opens up new doors that, okay, if the consumer know that, oh, this, I can do this, and whatever they are going to buy next, they will be more intelligent, and they'll have more reality check that, okay, where they should invest in. So that's a great power. And as you mentioned, like how you're constantly customer support, again, a big thumbs up, because that can really make the retention 100%. Because if most of the time consumers want to know more information, which may be there on the site already, but if they know they can talk to someone and they 1 or 2 queries get addressed, they go for it. So that's again a great insight. I think any entrepreneur or any e-commerce brand can think about that, how they can make sure that whether it is a 1 visitor who is visiting a second or 100 visitor, every visitor matters. And if you are able to make that connection in that little window of opportunity and help them ultimately, whether they buy or not, that's it. That's the best thing the brand can do. That's a great insight, Karnima, that you shared there. Kim, I would like to ask you this question. Like, you're in the cosmetic space, and it is a crowded space. Definitely, you have competition, and you're doing amazing work in educating your consumers by giving them the right information and all the live stream. But what is your vision for your brand in the next 5 years? Where do you see your brand, like who can, like, how do you want to take your brand global? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, our plans in the next 5 years is to make over the beauty industry. When we think about what our plans are, it's like holistic. So yes, going global for us, because there are so many women in so many different parts of this world who are underserved by the beauty industry. And even though there is a lot of cosmetics and brands out there, there is sometimes there's a lot of stuff, but not like the quality in the stuff. And so that's what we feel like, we'll be there for. Before we started our webinar today, we were talking about even how Rebag is doing things around how they, have done this recycle and is better, really better for the planet sort of model around the bags and everything. Even with cosmetics, we even have our own ideas around that and how we can lessen the landfills with cosmetics and packaging and things like that, and just for usefulness around it and getting all of the use out of products. So we have some plans around that, but I definitely say that our distribution footprint will grow. We're, actually launching with the largest beauty specialty retailer in the country later this summer. So
Wow.
we're really excited about that. And in launching with them, we have other plans to continue that distribution, but then as well as, with the live shopping and things like that, we have, expansion plans. So in the next 5 years, yeah, we just definitely want to, increase our market share and all of that, but then as well as we want to make such an impact that would influence other brands to even change the way they do things. And we've seen that already start to happen. Paying attention to brown and Black women. And brown and Black could be any nationality, it could be any heritage, it's just color, right? And paying attention to her. Because I talk to so many women of so many different backgrounds. And as a dark-skinned woman, we hear the same stories, no matter what culture they come from, that they have sort of been looked upon or frowned upon in a way, or not felt their self-esteem not being there, or having a hard time finding beauty products for them. And when you don't see yourself in the beauty industry, that basically tells you that you're not beautiful because you're not there. And so that's the reason why we know the beauty industry needs a makeover. And that's what we're on the mission to do. So that's some of that. And then also my big lofty goals are around all of the data that we have towards that. Our customer gives us a lot of information that they want sort of shared in a way that would empower them, not shared in a way that would exploit them, but shared in a way that would empower them.
Yeah.
And so, because a lot of our consumers are professional working women. And so they want to continue to rise. They're actually the ones running the world. Shout out to Kamala Harris. Shout out to Kamala. But they're the ones running the world. They want information that's going to empower them. And I believe that some of the data that we have discovered, some of the things that we know about, will continue to do that in the next 5 years. I think we'll be in a place where we can create some of these ways to help her. And so yeah, I see us going even into more lifestyle in regards to being there for our woman.
Wow, that's amazing. So glad to hear that. I think setting those ambitious goals gives you more energy and power. And ultimately, when you have that strong purpose and to solve that problem, or to to help the consumers thinking what is beyond the obvious, and going whatever is happening in the world, a lot of things can be improved. And I think when brands like yours set goals like this, it helps you. It helps. It's kind of that vision itself is so powerful, and that helps you find the way going forward. More power to you, Kim. Amazing. That's wonderful, because I think a lot of brands that are there, for example, as Gernimo took, like Apple or Tesla or Patagonia, these are leaders, and they became leaders over the years by constantly thinking about their consumers, constantly innovating their products. And that's how and it took them a lot of time to become that, to reach that scale. And I think if Kim is also thinking in that direction. And I think as more brands start doing that, the more brands will start to follow. And I think that's the way I think we can have that sustainability goal achieved, and in a big manner, a big help to the planet. Excellent. Geronimo, we are coming to an end of the panel. So we have 4 or 5 more minutes. So I would like to have this last question for both of you. So let me go to Geronimo first. And uh, what is the vision for Rebag? If you can share a little bit, like where do you see Rebag in the next 5 years? You already have a very strong presence, a very like You have already made up that mark in the consumer's mind, but what more is there?
I mean, I think there's a lot to do in the resale industry. Again, we're really only the iceberg is fully submerged underwater, and we're only seeing the tip of it right now. And this is a pretty monumental move. And I think for us in the next 5 years, we do see ourselves improving. Obviously the experience in the resale industry, removing more friction when it comes to wanting to buy or sell a handbag, and really kind of getting our technology in the forefront to assist other businesses in wanting to expand into the resale industry, right? And so I think when we think about it, we don't really consider Claire our or just for us. It's only an in-house tool, only our customers can use it. It was really designed to help anyone, any business to really kind of utilize the platform to really actually improve that customer experience and really understand what the resale value of those bags are going to be. And so obviously, taking this, improving it, continuously upgrading it, I think is, definitely within the plan over the next 5 years. And I think, the more we can create our physical footprints and expand them to be an extension of the e-commerce experience, right? I think, it'll position us very well to be the leader in the resale industry. Charles, our founder, always says that I'm very ambitious, but I do strongly stand behind this vision, and I really do think that the resale industry is the future of consumerism. And I think that there's some industries that have been in it for a long time already. The car industry has been around for decades now. Yes. There's nothing actually new to it. It's just that we would have never fathomed, you buying someone else's handbags, but we're okay buying someone else's car. So just think about that, right? Yeah. So I think big things in the future.
Great. This is amazing to hear. And as you said it rightly, just thinking, and you are, as you correctly said, how you want to make your physical stores as an extension of your e-commerce brand and like the e-commerce presence. So that's tremendous. I think that act as a big enabler ultimately. If someone has viewed a bag on your store on e-commerce, but they want to see it physically, if they have a physical store available, the conversion can be quickest. But ultimately, it's all about experiences. Every brand is trying to take the experience to the next level and help give that delight to the consumers, where most of the time consumers may not write a review or may not send an email to the brand, but if they're happy, they really keep on coming back without them getting an email. And if a brand is able to constantly do that, delight the consumer at every stage, growth can be phenomenal. And I have one last question for both of you is around, like in each panel, we have this one question for sure. What is that one piece of advice that you would like to share to maybe an entrepreneur, someone who wants to launch an e-commerce business, or someone who's already running an e-commerce or a retail business? What is, from your entire experiences, what is that one or two things that you would like to share for someone that they can implement within their businesses from your own experiences? Maybe let me go to Kim, if you can share.
Yeah, well, Nemo had me so excited. I was up here thinking about these bags I had in my closet. I'm like, I need to be on Rebag. Oh gosh. Especially because I'm millennial. So, I'm into, like, after I take a photo with something, it's on this, I'm like, I'm done. That's it, But it just also, just kind of goes into even this question that you asked around e-commerce. And if someone has an idea, like my tips or what have you, I would say, when I had the vision for Lamique being an e-commerce sort of native business, you have a vision, and sometimes it might feel a little far ahead from where things are right now.
Mm.
And I think that, with innovation and so just even solutions to problems, sometimes we're so used to looking at a problem, so used to that problem. When you
Yeah.
come up with a solution, it almost feels like, well, people actually do it. They're so used to having the problem, so whatever you're, because I'm sure you're building some type of e-commerce business because of a problem that you see or something like that. And I just would say, trust your vision. And sometimes a pandemic will come to show that your vision was right. It's just different things that happen. A trend will come about that'll show your vision was right. So I would just say, trust your vision in regards to it. There's so much information on the interwebs of the
Yeah.
internet. So being able to test things out and try it. But my main thing is like trust your vision, because if I would have not trusted my vision for Lamique, I wouldn't be in this position to be able to take full advantage of everything that's happening. I would have doubted it because I didn't see anybody else doing it. Or I would have taken, the only way to acquire customers is through digital marketing. And I wouldn't have seen the way to acquire customers through live streaming and just how that works. So just trusting your own vision. And the possibility of scaling it is still there. There's so many ways to scale. And so just not sort of getting caught up in only what you already see and being done, and know that trust your vision for what you might see for the future.
Excellent. So trust your vision, trust your guts, and be open and flexible to try out new things, and it can open up new doors of opportunity. So that's the advice coming in from Kim. Geronimo, one piece of advice from your end as well?
I really think, the Lamique company actually probably does this very well. It seems like the business is probably one of the leaders in the forefront right now because they listen to the consumer, right? I think when you hear Kim's story, she started she had her own physical store. She was interacting with the customers every day. She was a CEO that was in the forefront, right? And so she was listening to the consumer. She found a need. She found a niche. She was hearing women out in those needs. And I think it's the same thing that I've always believed in any position that I've been in with any major company. As large as you can fathom being, a company that has 30,000 employees, listening to your customer is the most important thing. When you look at Elon and how Elon reads almost all of those tweets, he reads them all. And that's why he tweets back, because he is in tune with the customers, and I think that's why when you look at the success of Tesla in the small amount of time that they've been around, it's astronomical. And I think, this is the number one thing, whether you're a one-person show or looking at scaling and starting to bring on a team, listen to your customers and transmit your vision to that customer, and listen to the feedback, right? Find how it's making them feel, how it's making them engage, how it's making them react. And I think this is extremely important for any business, from small to big. The more you're in tune with your consumer, the more success you're going to have.
That's an excellent advice coming in from Geronimo. Listening to your consumers and then aligning your vision with the consumers' needs and what the consumers are looking for. Because I think just by listening to the consumers, you can make your product better, you can make your service better, and in turn grow your brand to new limit. And in a world that we are living in, sky is the limit, as they say. Whatever, there's no thing which is impossible, which is proven in this decade. And I think retail e-commerce is going to go by leaps and bounds and going to open up new doors of opportunities. I must say this has been an excellent panel discussion today with Kim and Geronimo, and they have shared some really amazing insights from their own experiences. And it's going to inspire a lot of people out there when they're going to get a chance to view this panel discussion. And we would love to host you guys again, maybe on some other topic. And I would really like to take this opportunity to say thank you on behalf of my team at Analito for taking out time today and openly, freely sharing your learnings, experiences, because I think the world that we're living in, the more we give, more comes back. So thank you so much, Geronimo. Thank you so much, Kim. We'll be in touch and look forward to learning more from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.